everybody, welcome back to Shots Life. This week, I'm going to introduce you to my 1971 convertible Corvette. You know, the one in this intro. Welcome to my life. All right, even as a kid, when I was in high school, I used to see people with Corvettes. As a matter of fact, one of the kids I went to school with, Dad had like a 1981. It was really cool, man. So I always dreamed about these cars. I always thought they were great. Later in life, I had a buddy that had one down the street from his house. It was a 427. This one is not. I wish it was. But anyway, it was a 427, and I could have bought it for $7,000 back then. And that was probably when I was about 16. Probably 16, 17. Of course, I couldn't afford that kind of money back then. There's no way, right? So anyway, I dreamed about that car, and I tried to get the money to get over for that car, but it just passed me by, and there's just no practical way for me to get it back then. I think the car that I was driving was like $400 or something like that. It was a Buick Skylark, 1967. Wish I still had that car, actually. So anyway, years had gone by. I went in the military and went up through the ranks, and I got orders to Langley Air Force Base in Virginia to be on the Air Combat Command Staff. So I moved there, and I was there for a couple years, and I had some really great neighbors. His name was Ken, and Ken had several Corvettes in his building, and was a top flight inspector for Corvettes. And I dreamed about his cars. You know, there's a couple of them. He had a different one that he wanted me to buy, which is really a cool car, but it wasn't a steel bumper car, and I really like the steel bumper cars, and I like convertibles. So he had this one. I never really saw it complete. I saw it underneath a tarp, and it had a Corvette hood, a different one upside down on top of it, and a bunch of parts. And I'll dig up a picture. This is what it looked like. Me and my wife had talked about it several times, and from peeking underneath, and I knew it was a frame off restoration that had been done. The story behind that was he had a friend that took it and did a body off restoration and got the body back on, and then got divorced. Then that's how my buddy got it, and then he kept it for several years. Like I said, he has several of these Corvettes. Even has a really nice Grand Sport, newer one. So anyway, my wife and I had talked several times about the Corvette, and I had told her what I would offer him for it, or what I would pay him for it back then, but it just wasn't in the cards. You know, he never offered it for sale or anything. I mean, I had joked with him and told him I wanted it and all that stuff, but nothing ever came of that, you know. I mean, he knew what he had, you know, and he had big dreams for all his cars as well. So anyway, I PCS from there, and we went to Korea and England, and then by chance I got hired on as the chief over Air Combat Command's munitions division, and so we went back, and actually we bought another house right down the street from the house we bought, and I was on the road a lot, but Ken showed up at my door, and I wasn't there, and my wife was, and he told her that he wanted me to know that he was going to sell this Corvette because he too was going through a divorce. So she remembered exactly, which is crazy because it was, I mean, it must have been, well, I don't know, 4 or 5 years since she heard me talk about it. But she remembered what I'd said and what I would pay for it. And so she offered him that, and he basically turned it down and left. But 2 weeks later, he felt pity on me, I guess. And he came back and told her that he would sell it to her. So she bought it as a surprise for me for one of my birthdays, as a kind of a retirement gift as well. So I was excited. I went and tried to get it out of the garage. I went and looked at it, and then we got it out of the garage. And here's a picture of it when it first came out of the garage and what it looked like. So I, you know, got it out and got it into the garage there in Virginia, and started buffed it out and started putting parts on it and cleaning it all up, and you know, the things that I could do. Evidently I was evidently I was moving too fast on it though, because my wife said, hey, this is your retirement project. Of course, she didn't know I was going to really need another project, right? So anyway, she bought it as a retirement project and wanted it moved to our house here, which we had already owned. We bought it during the crash. And so we moved it here, and it sat in the basement for several years. A year ago, a year ago, I did do a little work on it, and I started a video series. So when I put this video together, there'll be some flashbacks to things that I've done, just small jobs, just a couple things I talked about in there. I'll probably put a couple of those videos in there. So if you're wondering why it flips back to the basement and then back into the garage and all that stuff, you'll get it, you'll understand it. So yeah, and I've obviously done a lot of stuff to it since it's been in the garage that's on here now. So we'll be flashing back and forth. So anyway, yeah, that's how I ended up with it, and that's how it ended up here. I'm thankful for sure. I mean, it's a really nice car. The paint is not perfect, even though it looks really good with the lights and all that stuff. It's actually dirty right now, but it does have a couple scratches in it. I mean, it's definitely a driver. It was a frame-up restoration, but I think because it sat so long underneath a bunch of other stuff, it has a couple scratches. So I don't know if this will show up on camera, but there's a big scratch here, and there's one back here. And then where the top had sat on it, there's some marks too. So, you know, whether I can get a paint shop to match those out, I'm not exactly sure. I definitely will probably try to see what they can do. I mean, with modern technology, things are a lot different now. But maybe I can do a paint match and get them to spray it. You know, just I don't know. I don't know how that would work. We'll figure that out as we go. For me, I don't want it to be perfect anyway, because I won't drop them when they're perfect. But I would like this to be a driver where I can just go to Dairy Queen on a Friday night or whatever. So with that being said, let me jump into getting the car moved and getting in the garage, and then things that we've done to it. So anyway, I hope you enjoy this series. We're kind of going to put it together. I do have a deadline on this one. So sorry, boat people. I do have a deadline on this. My niece is getting married this summer, and I have to have it ready for that wedding. I don't have to, but I said I would. So that's kind of where we're at on this car. I mean, all right, so one of the bigger issues that I do have is I didn't take the car apart. As a matter of fact, that was 2 people ago, and just boxes and boxes and boxes of stuff, right? And so I've weeded through that. Some of that stuff is just stuff that he took out that I won't be reusing, and other stuff is stuff that he just had that he picked up at car shows and whatever. So I've gone, and of course it used to be a huge stack of boxes. I can show you a little bit of video of that right here. This is my Corvette corner. I really shouldn't be showing it to you, but there's actually other car stuff here too, and some housework and stuff. But the majority of all this is just Corvette parts. I mean, here's the speedometer and all that. Just all the different trim pieces and boxes and boxes of stuff that I got to go through and figure out where it goes for the carpets, the original carpets. But yeah, there you go. Lots of stuff to put back in. Oh yeah, I got a hard top too back there. That's the hard top. I made a little stand for it so I could roll around. But yeah, that's it back there. That's actually the new sheet metal for the excavator down there too. Got to get that on eventually. All right. But yeah, so I think, of course, going through and finding out what it is, what an item is. Just say any simple item, right? So you pick this up and well, what is it? Well, if I turned the car apart, I'd know that this is the air conditioner bracket, right? But I didn't know, right? So I had to go through and try to find from pictures on the internet and the manufacturer's catalog. I had those. So I was able to go through these and kind of figure out how they put the car together, right? They're not the best and they're not in the best order, but I can find things, and when I do find things, then I say, oh, do I have this and that and that? And lots of times the answer is no. So basically I'm trying to go identify a part and then place that part and then see what else is missing, which is tough in a lot of cases. But I've been able to do it. Yeah, again, I'm not going to tell you how much stuff I had to order to put that stuff together. An example would be this dashboard, right? So I went to put the dash together. I mean, I'm about ready for it, which is, not in this sequence of the video, but I will be ready for it when you get there. And so I was going to put it in, and I noticed the headlight switch was missing. So I ordered the headlight switch, and I ordered the knob that goes with it. But when I went to put it in, I realized, oh crap, and I had to go look, and there's actually a nut that goes in here and then screws into inside of this, which I didn't have. So I'm waiting on it now. I have it on order and I'm waiting for it to come in. So that's just one example of the many examples of, well, you think you have it all, then you got to do one thing, and then you don't have the next three things that you needed to do the one thing, whatever. When I was doing the wiring, all the wiring goes through this horn relay, which I didn't have, which I didn't know. And it took me forever to figure out that I didn't have this here. And all those wires needed to connect to it. All the power, which is really weird, all the power in the Corvette goes through the horn relay. Crazy, but that's the way it works. So, yeah, just things like that I had to figure out. All right, well, with that said, this is what we're going to do this week. And I'll edit that in as soon as I know where the video covers. All right, let me get to work. So I had pulled the dash apart and everything to do all the wiring. You can see it's all brand new wiring or whatever. New buttons and everything like that. So new, every vacuum line's new. I kind of had to push this back up though, mount it back up so I could steer it to get it here. But new wiring harness all the way around. It'll be a lot of work because I got to remember where everything goes. There's a couple different wiring harnesses in here. There's a rear one and a front one that all come together here. But as you can see, there's quite a bit to relearn and put back together. For sure. All the stuff's here, just got to remember it all. So that's going to be quite the treat. Then I can start putting it back together once I figure all that out. So that's kind of where it was until I needed this horn relay. Now that I have it, and I'm retired, so she can't complain to me anymore, I can start putting her back together. And it's getting cold, so I probably won't be working on the boat as much. That's the horn relay that I needed. But pretty much everything goes through this. It's really weird. But anyway, I'll get this mounted in there and get it back going. So yeah, this should be fun. Another project. I don't know how much I'll film of this, I mean, I'll probably do quite a bit and show you very little. We'll see. Because most of the time I'm going to be thinking and relearning. But I'll try to show you some stuff. Oh, that probably needs to be tightened, huh? Look at these seats. All redone. Just like original in the car. Is that beautiful? They are nice. But keep them covered up until I get done. They did a great job of redoing them though. Alright, after 30 minutes of searching, I ended up on a forum on the internet that actually showed what I was looking for. and that's the big red wire, and the other two going to the same lead, opposite side of the support. So all these wires go there. All right, I'll get that sucker hooked up and get her on there. Alright, so I got her screwed in. Got all the wires mounted. Very thankful for these forums, I tell you. They're handy. These will go to the windshield wiper relay, which I have no idea where that is. And these, look at all these wires down here. I gotta figure out where they go. Probably the windshield wiper relay. That's probably missing. That would be the windshield wipers. Or the windshield wipers. This is power windows. Sorry. And that all has to go somewhere. So there's probably something else missing here. So that's an interesting looking clip. It shouldn't be too hard to find that clip. It's offset. That black one looks like a Z. And then this brown one. Thank goodness for Docker rebuilds. Oh, so easy chart. I gotta find that connector. I don't see it on here. Alright, just I shut the camera off. I found it. It was up here. It doesn't. You have to really look at it to see the Z pattern, but that's it there. The wire colors are right. So that says firewall relay CEC delay. Firewall relay. Relay ground. So when I look it up, it comes up with that. The AC blower. Huh. So I'll have to find that. But it looks like that. And that's already hooked up. That's the AC blower, I'll bet you over there, so that ain't it. Alright. Let me keep looking. Alright, so I found it on a forum. That's what it looks like. It goes right there. So now, I just have to find out if I have that in my box of parts or not. This will be fun. Going through all those boxes to try to find that. Alright. Alright, so I've gone through by the little Corvette corner. Man, I was amazed at the stuff that I've collected. You know, when you're moving in a hurry, one of the boxes just had the 2 plates for the sides and the rest of it was just filling. So I had a bunch of boxes that were just half empty anyway. So cleaned it out. We're down to a few parts, but I don't have the relay I need. So I'll go on Amazon and order that up with a bunch of other stuff that I think I need. And we'll go from there. See when it comes in. All right, YouTube. Hey, I spent the day down here reviving this project. I haven't worked on this for a couple years. I mean, I did a little bit not too long ago, but I really haven't. I mean, I did a couple days and that was that. So I've spent a day going through and identifying parts that I have and what I have missing and stuff. And I built up a pretty good order on stuff that I need just to keep moving forward. I mean, there's just a lot of little widgets missing still, like the brake master cylinder or whatever. I got a booster, brand new booster, so they're obviously going to add a booster to it, but I don't have the master cylinder. Missing linkage, the brackets for the linkage. I'm missing just a bunch, I mean, and a bunch of little parts. And then I did, as I went through stuff, I found parts that I had that I didn't realize I had, right? So fuel line, brake lines, spring, return spring, the booster, I don't even know what it's called, the booster pin. So I did find quite a bit of things. There's the old one too. Anyway, I found a lot of stuff that I do have, along with a bunch of stuff that I needed. So just kind of started making a list, whatever, and ended up with right under $1,000 worth of stuff. And it actually came in. So I'll open that up and we'll just kind of go through what I have ordered. I know there's going to be a ton more things that I'm going to need. I mean, just a ton. But you know, you do what you can do. So the whole deal behind reviving this project, no, you know, I always wanted to do it, but it's just not a priority right now. But it became a priority because my little niece is going to get married in a year, and they want to drive off in this for their wedding pictures. So yeah, she called and asked if I'd do it, and of course I can't say no to my nieces most of the time. I don't think I ever have yet, but it depends. If they're watching this and you ask for something crazy, I'm not doing it. But anyway, so I've been started inventorying and figuring out what I needed and so forth. So we're gonna make it a priority. We're gonna try to have this done within 1 year. So anyway, let's open these boxes and see what I did get. And if you're wondering, yes, this is on a pallet of shingles. This is my roof that still hasn't been done yet. It's on my list of things to do. Like everything else, there's a list. Here's a list. All right, so a bunch of small bags of stuff. Let me see what I got here. All right. Oh yeah, so this is the steering knuckle. The steering knuckle on mine, they're like a cloth version that go between the steering shaft and the other. You probably can't see that. All right. Yeah, so the steering knuckle on mine, it blew out. I mean, I guess they're cloth or whatever. You can see it right down there, maybe. And it blew out. That's why. I guess it just dry rotted. So I got a new one of those. So that's that. Pretty cool. It'll make me a space to put it all. All right, then I got, let's see what these are. License bezel kit. So that's to put the license plate bezel on. Oh, 2 bolts for the carburetor. Yeah. So all the parts are here supposedly, but when I'm doing the carburetor, the 2 front mounting bolts for the carburetor, the back ones are there and the studs, but the front ones are missing. So that's what those are. So I got those along with, again, the license plate bezel. No, that's the carburetor. No, that's the carburetor. Oh yeah. So the lug that holds the air cleaner to the center of the carburetor is missing. So I ordered that. So that's those. And oh, they got this thing loaded. They got this one loaded so you don't lose them, I guess. Oh, sorry for the camera work. I actually brought a tripod down with me and I'm not even using it. Yeah, I know the lighting's bad down here. I've tossed it back and forth about taking the Corvette out and putting it in the garage, just to work on it. Okay, lug for the air cleaner top, clamps for fuel lines and air hoses. The sensors, they got all the wrong sensors on the car. They were the ones with the flat tops and the wiring harness, and the correct, for my years, the pin heads. And so all the connectors snap onto the top of the pin head. So I got to replace all of those in the engine. I don't know where they got the other ones from. I'm not sure. So this is a spring for return spring for the carburetor return spring. So it actually was a different size than I thought. So that's good. I was ordering it. That's the bracket for the cable that hooks to the carburetor. There wasn't a bracket on it. So that's what that is. These are the exhaust bezel clamps, the screws and the clamps that go on the other side of the fiberglass. This is, I don't even know, this is for the master cylinder, between the master cylinder and the booster. That's the clamp that holds the cable to the other clamp, or the other bracket. This is the measuring tool, so that when you put the master cylinder on, the actual piston is adjustable, and you use this to set that, so I got that. Let me go put these on the table. That was only one of those sensors, though there's supposed to be a bunch of them, so there must be more in here. Must be more in here. All right, so this is awesome. It's just a replacement steering wheel. My car has the original, but when you touch it, it's sticky. It's just the oil's coming out of it, and you can't. It doesn't matter how much I've rubbed on it or done whatever to it, it just won't come out. So I ordered a new steering wheel. I'm going to keep the old one. Maybe we'll rebuild it or something, but it's just so sticky. But this is the exact identical replica to it, and it's not sticky, and it has grips. So yeah, it's good. You know, I like a thicker steering wheel. I could have bought something different, but I wanted to stick somewhat original on this car. I mean, I don't want to take all the character away from it. I'm not a purist by any means, but I'd like it to look good, you know. So that'll be great. Except for pulling that steering wheel with a pain in the butt, but we'll get her. So I don't know. I think this is must be a Oh, this is the decal for the card for the or the air filter that says it's a 327. So that's good. And this is no markings. Let's see. Oh, this is a rear license plate bezel. So I ordered one of those. I have the originals, and I'll probably keep them, but it is way cheaper to just buy some replacement reproduction ones than it was to have the old ones re-chromed. But I kept the originals just in case somebody wanted originals. But there you go, nice and chromed up. License plate bezel for the back. So that'll be great to get on. It'll really clean the back up. And this is probably just an air cleaner. It's just a chrome basic air cleaner that came on Corvettes. This is a reproduction, of course. I'm not a purist for all those top flight Corvette people. So don't kill me. But yeah, it's just the chrome open air with the bottom air filter. And then I'll put the correct engine on the chrome, and we'll get that on the carburetor at some point. It's like crap in Christmas, isn't it? Hopefully the light's good enough that you can see. I know it ain't light down here. Hopefully the camera makes up for the lack of light. Of course, I'm in the basement. All my tools are upstairs. That's the other reason why I might move the Corvette to the garage. So master cylinder. Yep, exhaust bezels. To replace the ones that are on there. It's all nasty, so they'll just pop up there and be chrome on the back. So there you go. That's what I ordered so far. We'll see what else I run into that I need. All right, so we got a lot of work to do. We got a lot of figuring out to do. Like I got to get these sensors replaced before I put the master cylinder in. The master cylinder, I think I got the right lines to go from the master cylinder to this. But since it is a mod, I'm not sure what parts I have and what I don't. What he was doing before. I got to get that carburetor tucked up and get all the lines hooked to it. I did find that I had an EGR kit, which was awesome. They had ordered the PVC evaporator canister hose assembly, so that's good. That takes a load off. The canister's in there. It's down there, so we'll get that all hooked up on there, all lines on that hooked up. Then the booster lines, they had ordered them, so they're right there. I just got to get them mounted. And fuel lines and sensors and just go from there. All the air conditioner stuff, I'm just going to leave wired over there. I'll zip tie all that up. My goal here is to get the car running, and then I'll worry about coming back and putting niceties in like the air conditioner and stuff like that. I don't need to spend money on that right away and have lots of time to worry about that. I'm going to be honest with you, I don't even know that you need an air conditioner. We do run ours in the Z3 with the top down. It keeps your feet cooler. But and then I'll have to get on the wiring and get back in that and figure it all out. I have the diagrams and stuff. And I was going hot and heavy on it. And then I stopped and brought the car here. But, you know, I have the seats. The seats have been reupholstered by a Corvette. The guy that I bought this from, he was a Corvette enthusiast. So everything is top flight, whatever. So I just got to go back and get everything put back together. So, yeah. So that's where we're at. That's all I'm going to do today. I just wanted to open the boxes, and I didn't want to open the boxes without you guys being here. So I'm going to go do some other stuff, but there you go. That's what we're working on. Well, that's what we will be working on in the future. So I don't know if I'm going to keep this as a rainy day project down here, or if I'm going to move it to the garage and just go to town. But either way, there you have it. Lots to do on this car, lots of buttons. I really need to go over it with a fine-tooth comb, like radiator clamps aren't on there, and you know, just make sure that everything's the way it should be, torqued and whatever. So yeah, got quite the project to go there. But like always, we'll get it. We always do. All right, everybody. Well, that'll be it for this episode. I'm hitting around the 30-minute mark, so we'll cut it there. The next episode, we'll get it out of the basement, and I'll show you a lot of stuff that I've been doing. It should be a pretty good series. We are definitely on a timeline. It'll be done. Hopefully we end, of course, the series with a wedding, and we don't just miss the wedding and not have it done. But yeah, hey, thanks so much for joining me. If you're joining me because you saw the Corvette, please check out the boat and the motorhome and the building and the dump truck and all the other series we have going on. This is kind of a random channel. For those that stick with me every week, thanks for being random with me, and I'll see you next week.